All right, you guys, without further ado, today we announce our new investigative series, or you guys get to find out what it's going to be on. It will begin next week. Many of you guys guessed, by the way, and from what we could tell, only one person in the live chat on Friday completely nailed it. Get ready because this one is going to send the internet and the media into a frenzy. Boy, oh boy, I am not sure where to begin on this one. Other than to just come clean with you guys about the fact that I have been keeping a very big secret. Not because I wanted to, I don't do secrets, because of contracts, lawyers, employment changes, all things that were well beyond my control. I guess what I should say here is that you should know that way long before I ever embarked on looking into Blake Lively or Brigitte Macron, there was another series that I was very keen to bring to life. And trust me when I say that this one is just going to make the American media lose its collective hive mind because it concerns them. Some really big lies that they told to the public, and I would call these lies by omission. Just like we learned via the Justin Baldoni and New York Times story, when you omit certain facts which radically transform public opinion, you're a liar, right? There's no other way to say it. You are intentionally lying. There is, in fact, a difference, New York Times, in saying that somebody barged into a trailer when someone was breastfeeding and then omitting the fact that the person was invited into the trailer. Yeah, that does a little bit. That little detail does a little to dissuade the public from believing that a person is a sexual harasser or an abuser. And of course, when they do these sorts of things, when they intentionally omit certain facts, they have the potential to ruin people's lives forever. Well, what I want to tell you guys is that I have had some conversations with someone, a once upon a time very powerful someone, and I am now going to jog your memory on who exactly it is that I'm speaking about. The subject of my next series. Take a listen.
I want to start by thanking Harvey Weinstein for organizing this amazing day.
Who is Harvey Weinstein? Or better yet, who was Harvey Weinstein? Harvey Weinstein was born in 1952 to Miriam and Max Weinstein, a diamond cutter from New York. Harvey grew up in Flushing, Queens, and then attended State University at Buffalo College before deciding to drop out and form a music production company with his brother, Bob Weinstein. They were focused on the independent production of rock concerts through the 1970s. But in 1979, the brothers pivoted and formed Miramax, a company they had named after their parents, which had a focus on independent films. They received their big break into the industry in 1990 with the biographical drama My Left Foot, which earned the company its first pair of Academy Awards. The Hollywood floodgates had opened. Miramax went on to produce a string of critically acclaimed films, including The Crying Game, Pulp Fiction, The English Patient, Life is Beautiful, Shakespeare in Love, and Chicago, to name a few.
Chicago!
This led to an unprecedented 10 years in a row of producing an Oscar-nominated film for Best Picture.
I would like to thank Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein, who believed in us and made this movie.
Thank you, Harvey Weinstein. Especially Harvey.
Harvey and Bob Weinstein.
I want to thank the Mishpucha Weinstein.
An analysis found that Harvey Weinstein had been thanked or praised 34 times, as many times as God. And that makes sense when you come to understand that within the pagan culture of statue worship, Harvey Weinstein was a god.
I just want to thank my agent, Kevin Uvain, and God, Harvey Weinstein.
With seemingly unlimited access to not only A-list actors, but also heads of state. He had it all: power, wealth, and artistic success. This meant that within Tinseltown, Harvey could make or break a career. And no one knew that better than Harvey.
If I see one car, me and Bob De Niro will take care of it, but good.
Have a good night, man.
Never work in this town, will never sell a photograph anywhere.
But cracks began to emerge. First with rumors of impropriety spun as jokes.
Congratulations, you 5 ladies no longer have to pretend to be attracted to Harvey Weinstein.
Of course, Harvey had built up a wall of political power around him that seemed impossible to penetrate, thanks in large part to his philanthropic endeavors, as well as his relationships with leading politicians. That is until the fall of 2017, when Harvey's world came crashing down. On October 5th, 2 reporters from the New York Times, Megan Twohey, yes, that Megan Twohey, and Jodi Kantor, published a report detailing decades of sexual abuse. This report was followed up by Ronan Farrow publishing a piece in The New Yorker. Suddenly, more than 80 women began publicly accusing Harvey Weinstein of sexually abusing or sexually assaulting them. The media went into a frenzy. The Me Too movement had been ignited. In the blink of an eye, Harvey Weinstein lost his company, his marriage, and eventually his freedom, trading in red carpets for perp walks. A-list actors and actresses did an about-face.
It's just that horrible ass boil that does not go away.
Hollywood turned its back on their beloved Harvey. But was the public told the truth? You're just going to have to take my word when I tell you that no, the public was not told the entire truth about this story. And the Harvey Weinstein story runs very deep. I can tell you that without flinching. In fact, I pride myself on never believing the media, always investigating things further. But I can admit, I fully fell for the narrative as it pertained to Harvey Weinstein, mostly because, first and foremost, there were just too many women, right? There were too many women that were all saying the exact same thing. Truthfully, I didn't even know why he was in prison or who specifically among the many women that had come out with all of these allegations and accusations against him had been the one, the two, or the three that actually got him into prison. I just knew somewhere in the back of my mind that he had to have done something, because 80 plus women, like I said, is just too many. And by the way, that's kind of the point. It's a very effective media strategy that's been employed by the media since the 1930s. For those of you that are in the book club, in my book club, you know, one of the books that we're reading is Hollywood Babylon. And it really woke me up to the fact that when Hollywood wants to hide something, they flood the media with so much information and so many different possibilities and so many stories that people can't think. The public can't think. Our minds just become cluttered and we just accept whatever it is that they're trying to tell us to accept. I want to say this because this is the craziest part of this. Harvey Weinstein and I are, of course, an extremely unlikely pairing, okay? We have nothing in common virtually. He is emblematic of Hollywood, and I absolutely despise Hollywood, truly. He gave millions of dollars away over his lifetime to the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League. I am literally on the ADL's list for being Adolf Hitler as of last year, okay? He also gave to every Democratic presidential nominee, and I'm a committed Republican. So I really want you guys to imagine he and I having conversations over a prison line. I want your imaginations to really run wild with what that conversation might have looked and sounded like. And I want to tell you more about that today. There is so much that I want to tell you about those conversations as we begin to unfold this series. I will. Currently, we're just in a little bit of a legal hold. But suffice it to say that 2 years ago, when we had our first conversation, I was convinced that Harvey Weinstein was guilty of something. And to be clear, Harvey Weinstein is not Justin Baldoni, okay? When you come down this series, you're not going to be like, Harvey Weinstein's my cousin, kombucha. No, none of that, okay? He's not some puppy who got kicked by a swarm of bullies. Harvey was a bully who I believe may have stepped on the toes of a bigger bully, a network of bullies, so to speak. Many people forget, but Hollywood was founded upon gangs. And as a part of this investigation into the larger Me Too movement, I have now spoken to actresses, singers, Backstreet Boys, you name it, many of whom believe that the Me Too movement consists of something that's akin to a criminal network. Journalists acting as the hitmen, paid-off law firms which assist in corporate shakedowns, essentially a cartel of sorts that's operating in plain daylight, using a movement about sexual abuse to wrangle publishing rights and ownership away from certain people. So what do I believe today? Well, we'll get into it also as a part of this series, but I believe Michael Jackson also strongly asserted something similar, said something's going on here in Hollywood. And then he was swiftly met with media allegations, so many allegations, too many allegations of pedophilia, and then a highly publicized trial, criminal trial to that effect. So yeah, I believe the media has been used for longer than we're willing to admit to take down certain people or companies for reasons that are not immediately clear to the public. And regarding Harvey Weinstein, after looking into the case for years, I believe that his New York case was rightfully overturned, and that this time, the public, and I'm now calling on you, TikTokers, citizen journalists, as I start giving you these facts and giving you information that the courts did not allow into the courts, you better pay close attention. because he's about to be retried. And I will guarantee you that you will be as absolutely shocked as I was. I really do believe that TikTokers, mommy sleuths, it's time to start looking into journalists Megan Twohey, Jodi Cantor, Ronan Farrow, learn a bit about these families, their families. Where did these people come from? Why are they being given Pulitzers? I expect Harvey Weinstein's case in Los Angeles, which he has appealed, is also going to be overturned. And I know that saying all that right now, today, probably sounds insane to you, probably as insane as it sounded a year ago when I said, hey, Brigitte Macron is a biological male. And now many of you are realizing that didn't sound so insane. So trust me, I have the receipts. I would never say such things without receipts. And the receipts here are long and they are dark. And it just points to something really nefarious going on in Hollywood that has tentacles everywhere. And I will say this, in many ways, Harvey made it very easy to take him down because he was undoubtedly, like I said, this is not Justin Baldoni. He was undoubtedly a very immoral man. I want to make that clear. That is one thing that has not shifted my perspective. I'm not like, oh my gosh, Harvey. No, he was an immoral man. He was cheating on his wife. He was screaming at assistants. He was running the peninsula like it was a brothel. Okay, treating journalists like they were scum of the earth. So it is very hard, as it was very hard for me to really just stick to the facts here. It was hard for me to immediately reconcile who this person was with the potential that in the end, and I'm now speaking specifically regarding the crimes for which he was charged for, the reasons that he is in prison. It was hard for me to reconcile in the beginning that he may have been intentionally wrongfully convicted. But next week, I'm going to invite you guys all down the rabbit hole with me in our investigative series, which will be entitled Harvey Speaks. And so what that means for the Hollywood people that are watching this, the PR agents, the celebrities, yeah, you know what I know. A lot of you guys kind of happy he was in prison, gone, couldn't have to think about this guy anymore. But you know, it's a funny thing. When Harvey Weinstein had so much power, so many of you A-listers who laughed and made jokes, first went from calling him God to then throwing him under the bus. I would imagine Harvey Weinstein might have been your first phone call when you yourselves were in trouble. That's why you want him in prison. That's why you never want him to speak. Harvey Weinstein probably knows where a lot of the Hollywood bodies are buried because he probably helped bury them. All I know is that you guys, and I'm talking to you, Hollywood, you guys are on notice.